are going to win a record share of the Hispanic American vote. You see what's happening? Oh, they're very concerned back there. The fake news, they are so concerned. Melania, you don't know too much about them. You've seen enough. But they are very unhappy. You know what's happening, don't you? You see what's happening? We've led Florida every single day. What's going on? This is a terrible thing for them. Actually, it's a good thing for them. They just don't know it. They haven't quite figured that out yet. No, we're doing incredibly in Florida. We're doing incredibly all over. And this isn't based on polls. This is based on fact. This is based on votes that are coming in. But you have to get out and vote. We are creating the greatest red wave in the history of our country. Oh, it's been amazing. We'll talk about it in a little while. I want to get some of the little introductions and introductory things out. But we have to talk about the what's going on in our country with the big tech. You know, the power of big tech, they're incredible. They're incredible. No. I heard about the power for a long time, the power of big tech. I heard about it 4 years ago. Sir, big tech is against you. They're tremendously powerful. You can't beat them. Then we had the election, we won. I said, oh, how did that happen? And the fake news media, 94% of the stories about us are negative. Think of it. Think of it. 64% of the stories about Sleepy Joe are positive. How the hell do you have a positive story about this guy? How do you have a positive story about him? This election is a choice between my plan to deliver historic, and you know what this is going to be, right? Historic. This is historic prosperity. Another major tax cut to go along with the biggest tax cut in the history of our country. And record job growth. And Joe Biden's plan is to deliver punishing lockdowns. He's going to lock you down. And Florida's all opened up. You have a great governor. Did he speak too long today or not? No? No, I watched him on the plane. I said, oh, look, there's Ron. You know, they have the little thing in the box. I said, oh, look, there's Ron. He's speaking. He looked like he was up there a long time. No? She said yes. He's a great governor. You have a great governor. He's a great guy. They want to give you massive tax hikes. It's the first time that I've ever seen. I've been with politics all my life, essentially. Only doing this for a few years on this side of it. But we've done well, haven't we, when you think? A senator came into my office and said, sir, an older guy, nice guy, total pro. Sir, I've been in 9 races and I've won 7 of them, sir, and I'm a United States senator. I said, Senator, I've been 1 race and I've won 1. Now we want to win 2, but I won 1. But it was the presidency. We took them all by surprise, didn't we? We took them by surprise. They're still trying to recover. And you will have a crippling depression, the likes of which you've never seen if Sleepy Joe becomes your president. And your 401ks, throw them out the window because you know what's going to happen. And you know, our stock market has a big headwind. The headwind is if he wins, and we are doing great. Do you see the number today? 33.1 GDP, the biggest in the history of our country by almost triple, right? Almost triple. No, it's very much bigger than any GDP we've ever had. You have to go back to the 1950s, and then it's less than half. This is the greatest, number 33.1%. If you asked me 2 weeks ago, I would have said, I'll take 12%. 12% would have been very nice. Nobody ever heard of 12%. 33.1. And let me tell you what they're going to do. I never even thought of this one. They won't even talk about it. This is the biggest event in business in 50 years. Nobody's ever seen a number like this. This is bigger than any nation. No nation has a number like that. Other nations right now, look, we were compared to Europe. Germany is doing so well. France is doing so well. Everyone's doing so well. No, they're not doing well. And you take a look at what's going on, and we want the best for them. We're on their team. We want to work with them and everything else. But they're not doing well. They're spiking up big. They're shutting down. They're locking down. I disagree with that because we're never going to lock down again. We locked down. We understood the disease. And now we're open for business. And that's what it is. And that's what it is. This explosive economic growth is 4 times greater than what the experts expected. They expected a number that would be like 7%, 8%. But here's what's going to happen. You're going to go back home. You're going to say, that was incredible. Melania was unbelievable. The governor was incredible. I've never heard anybody speak like that. Trump was okay, too. Not bad. But we have no choice. We have to vote for Trump because it's between Trump and Sleepy Joe, and anybody beats Sleepy Joe. I could take a couple of these guys. They're friends of mine. They're not good people. They're better than Joe, I will tell you. Now, do you believe what I'm running against? I'm running against the worst candidate in the history of presidential politics. I don't care, win, lose, or draw. This is the worst candidate in the history. He shouldn't be there because Pocahontas kept going instead of getting out. Then it would have been against Bernie, which would have been fine, too. You know what? You would have had a more energetic base if we had Bernie. That's one thing. Because I don't know if they have a base. Here's what's happened. He goes for a speech. They're showing you thousands and thousands. Look, as far as all the way back to that building, as far as the eye can see. And Biden is leaving his basement today. He took the lid off. You know what he does? He takes the lid off, runs to the closest part of Delaware, like if he can get a little piece of Pennsylvania. People in Pennsylvania are wise to him. They know all about his no fracking, no fracking, no fracking. Then he gets to Pennsylvania. He learns it's 1 million jobs. And by the way, Pennsylvania, they give us that you can fire up your factories. They give us the energy, and it's inexpensive energy. So he goes to Pennsylvania. All of a sudden he changes. Yes, I have nothing against fracking. And the press doesn't call him out on it, right? And they don't call him out on where's Hunter. They don't call him out where's Hunter. Where's Hunter? Is Hunter in the crowd? They don't call him out. They don't call him out on where's Hunter. It's crazy. It's crazy. You know, some people said I get a call from all the experts, right? Guys that ran for president 6, 7, 8 times. Never got past the first round, but they're calling me up. Sir, you shouldn't be speaking about Hunter. You shouldn't be saying bad things about Biden because nobody cares. I disagree. You know, maybe that's why I'm here and they're not. But they say talk about your economic success. Talk about 33.1%, the greatest in history. Now, look, if I do, I mean, how many times can I say it? I'll say it 5 or 6 times during the speech. 33.1. But you look at that, and you look at Tucker Carlson, what he did the other night. Great. And followed up by Sean, and followed up by Laura, and the next day, nothing at all, right? Nothing. Nothing in the New York Times, the fake New York Times. Hey, how about Anonymous? Did we see Anonymous, a low staffer? Anonymous turned out to be a guy. I'm trying to figure out, I don't know who the hell this guy is. So the New York Times said, a senior White House official. Nobody knew who he was. This was look, we are in big trouble with the press. They are truly the enemy of the people. They are the enemy of the people. So this guy goes out, this lowlife. Oh, I never saw him. I think he has a picture of me standing there like I do with thousands of people. This lowlife goes out and he writes a book. By the way, when he left, he had nothing but praise for the Trump. Oh, it's incredible, incredible. Then somebody gets him at the New York Times, the fake New York Times, and all of a sudden he becomes nasty. And he writes, and they say, a top White House official. Well, he was a staffer, low, had nothing to do with the White House. He had nothing to do. And he goes in, and you know what? There should be major criminal liability for some scum like this. And you know, for a year, everybody walks into my office, Secretary of State Pompeo. I could name every one of them, all good people. I'm looking at them and saying, I wonder if that could be the one, right? You know? And it turns out to be this lowlife that nobody knows who the hell he is. He had nothing to do with us. I don't think I ever met him, and I might have met him. I think somebody said, he has a picture of me standing someplace. This is a disgrace to our country. It shouldn't happen, and he should be prosecuted. Are you listening to me back in Washington? He should be prosecuted. Along with the New York Times, because it was a story made up, it was fake news made up by the New York Times. And you know who he works for now? CNN. He works for CNN right there. See the camera right there with the light that just went off. It just... See that, honey? That red light just went off. Fake news, CNN, and Anderson Cooper. And Anderson Cooper asked him, are you anonymous? And he lied to him. He said no, essentially. Said, no, I'm not. And he works for CNN. I would think CNN would be firing him about, but this is a real lowlife. You know who else he works for? Google. He works for Google. I think Google should fire him very quickly because bad things are going to happen to him. But think of what he does to our government, right? It's like a horrible, treasonous, horrible thing that you can do this, that you can get away with it. Weekly jobless claims. This is boring, but it's really good. Just hit a 7-month low. In other words, from the beginning of the pandemic, 7 months ago. No, we're going to have next year the best year we've ever had economically. And it's true. Biden is holding back the stock market because, you know, it's an election. Crazy things can happen. Maybe 100% of the people in Florida